Continuing with problem solving. Power under constant acceleration. Suppose a body is initially at rest and it undergoes one-dimensional motion with constant acceleration. The power delivered to it at time t is proportional to what? How do you figure this out? Constant acceleration, and power is force into velocity. Pause the video, try it yourself. Alright, power is force into velocity. Force is mass into acceleration. And since it is starting from rest, the velocity at any time is at. M is square t. Mass is constant, A is constant. So that means it is proportional to t, option B. Another type of question similarly is displacement under constant power. This time the source is delivering constant power, then how does the displacement change with time? Constant power. Power is force into velocity, mass into acceleration into velocity. Now we've got to figure it out. Acceleration is distance. This S is now distance. Distance by time square, and velocity is distance by time, and that is constant, right? So mass is constant, that means S square is proportional to T cubed. That means S is proportional to T to the power 3 by 2, right? Work from force displacement graph. As we know, it is just the area under the curve. Mass is 5 kg. It is going on a smooth horizontal surface, and the force varies with position as shown. What is the work done by the force as the block moves from x equal to 0 to x equal to 8? X equal to 0, x equal to 8. This is how the force is varying. Between 4 to 6 meters, it is 0. So simply the area under the curve. This area A1 is how much? Rectangle, 10 into 2. This is triangle, half into base. This base is 2 and the height is 10. These two areas are positive. Then this area, half into base, which is 2, and the height is this one, 5, but negative. So minus half into 2 into 5 is minus 5. Net area is 20 plus 10 minus 5, 25 joules. Option B. Correct? You got the same answer? Another one, similarly, this time the force is given by an equation where x naught is a constant and f naught is a constant. Find the work done in moving the object from x equal to 0 to 3 times x naught by plotting the fx curve. Now look at this curve. Let's expand this. Expand this. This will be what? F equal to f naught by x naught into x minus f naught. If you compare this with y is equal to mx plus c as the equation of a straight line, then this c is the y-intercept. So minus f naught is the y-intercept right here. And f naught by x naught is the slope. So we can draw a line with a slope f naught by x naught. But how do we figure out at what point it is cutting the x-axis? At this point, the force is 0, right? If you put force as 0, then what is the value of x? This left-hand side is 0, then f naught will cancel and x is equal to x naught. So we got 2 points, minus f naught and this x naught. For a straight line, only 2 points are sufficient, so you draw the line. But the question is, at x equal to 3x naught, what is the force? Now put x as 3x naught, then this becomes f naught into 3 minus f naught, that is 2f naught. So now we got all the coordinates. Now work done, area. This area is positive, this area is negative. The area is, the negative part is negative, base is x naught, so half x naught into f naught minus. And this area is positive, half base. What is the base? 3x naught minus x naught, that is 2x naught, and the height is 2f naught, half base into height. That gives us 3 by 2 f naught x naught. Option B. Using work energy theorem, this is very interesting. A lot of people will make mistakes here. The bob of a pendulum is released from a horizontal position. The string has a length of 1.5 meter. What is the speed with which the bob arrives at the lowermost point, given that it dissipates 5% of its initial energy against air resistance? So it's not that all the potential energy will convert into kinetic. 5% of that potential energy is being lost. So the radius of this circle will be equal to 1.5. So this h is 1.5. So we can say, without considering air resistance, loss in P is equal to gain in Ke. Mgh is equal to half mv square. So V square is equal to 2gh under ideal conditions. But now only 95% of 2gh will remain. Why am I not saying this is a mistake that people will do? They will say, okay, ideally V is equal to root 2gh. Because 5% energy is lost, therefore the speed when it comes is 0.95 V. That is wrong. It is not that the speed is reducing by 5%. It is the kinetic energy that is reducing by 5%. That means V square is reducing by 5%. That means V square becomes 95% of the ideal value. So it is 95% of 2gh, that is V square. So V is under root all of that, and we have the answer. So this is the mistake that people do. That is not correct. Next, again using work energy theorem, a body of mass 0.5 kg travels in a straight line with a velocity which is a function of the position. Well, that can happen. And this A itself is value is 5 in appropriate units. What is the work done by the net force during its displacement from x equal to 0 to x equal to 2? Whatever is the work done will be the change in the kinetic energy. So V is equal to 5 times x to the power 3 by 2 in meters per second. Now we need to know the initial and final kinetic energies. For that, we need to know the initial and final speeds. V at x equal to 0 is 0 when you put x equal to 0. V at x equal to 2 is 5 into 2 to the power 3 by 2. Work done by all the forces is the change in kinetic energy. And initially it was at rest. So the change in kinetic energy is the final kinetic energy. And that is the V at x equal to 2. So half mass is half kg, and what is V at x equal to 2? This one. When you square it, you'll get 5 square and then 2 to the power 3. So it will become 2 to the power 3. That means I can write this as 2 square into 2. And this 2 square will cancel. 5 square, 25 into 2 is 50 joules. Very good conceptual questions. Can you try this? Consider two observers moving with respect to each other at a speed v along a straight line. So one observer moving with some speed O1 and another observer O2 moving with some other speed. The relative speed is v. We can say relative to observer 1, observer 2 is moving with a speed v. So if we see with respect to O1, then with respect to means the frame is fixed at O1. That means O1 is at rest and O2 is moving with some velocity v. That is a picture. They observe a block of mass m moving a distance L on a rough surface. The following quantity or quantities will be the same. Which quantity or quantities would be the same as observed by both the observers? Now, in which direction that body is going, that is not known. So let me just assume, let's take a simple case that a body of mass m is gone a distance L in some time t. This is as seen by somebody who is on the ground. Will the two observers see the same distance covered? Remember that O1, O2 themselves may be moving. May be moving. It is not given that O1 is at rest. Both of them may be moving. And then this mass moves some distance. So the relative velocity of this mass with respect to each one of them will not be the same. The relative velocity will not be the same. So therefore the speed that they see will be different. So kinetic energy would not be the same. Work done by friction depends on the distance covered. Again, as seen by O1 and O2, the distance covered by the mass may not be the same. Both of them are moving. So B is also wrong. Total work done again requires displacement, but the displacement as seen by each one of them is different. What will be the same is the acceleration, because consider this thing that the mass is going by some distance L in some time t, and O1, O2 are going, right? Relative velocity is also constant. That means relative acceleration is not there. So the only quantity that will be the same as seen by both the observers is the acceleration of the block. Another good question. If the Ke of a block is continuously increasing, which are the correct options? If the K is continuously increasing, that means the force is continuously doing work, and work is F dot S, right? And this must be a positive quantity. Fs cos theta must be a positive quantity because the kinetic energy is continuously increasing. That means the work is continuously being done. So the resultant force on the particle must be parallel. Now, when you say must be, that means you are excluding any other possibility. It can be parallel, that is correct, but must be parallel now. The resultant force in the particle must be at an angle less than 90 degrees at all times. That is correct, because if it is less than 90 degrees, then cos theta is positive. This F and S are simply the magnitudes of the force and displacement. Those are positive. Then its height above the ground must continuously decrease, not necessary. The force is doing the work. The potential energy may be constant. The magnitude of the linear momentum is increasing. That is true because Ke is equal to P square by 2m for a single body. If Ke is increasing, then P magnitude is also increasing. So B and D are the correct options. Next, elevator weighing 500 kg is to be lifted up at a constant velocity of 0.2. What would be the minimum horsepower? Well, power is force dot velocity. Force and velocity are in the same direction. Force is weight. Constant velocity means net force is zero. So the weight should be balanced by the upward force by the motor, right? So force exerted by the motor is what you're talking about, because this power is a power delivered by the motor. This force must be equal to the weight since the body is moving at constant velocity. Net force is zero. And the weight is mg. We are taking g as 10. V is 0.2. So 1000 watts in horsepower divided by 746. 1.34 horsepower. Average and instantaneous power. This is very interesting. Very good question. A block of mass 2 kg is pulled up a smooth incline, no friction, and the angle of inclination is 30 degrees with the horizontal. If the block moves with an acceleration of 1 meter per second square, what is the power delivered by the pulling force at a time 4 seconds after the motion starts? Initially it was at rest, that means. So what is the power delivered at this instant? Number one. And number two is what is the average power delivered during these 4 seconds? Those two things are different. Instantaneous power would be taking the instantaneous values of force and velocity. So let's look at the picture. The plane is inclined at theta is equal to 30 degrees. Weight will act downwards. Component of the weight down this direction is mg sine theta, and perpendicular to the plane is mg cos theta. And it is moving with an acceleration of 1 meter per second square. I should say that it is moving up. That is missing. So it is moving up with an acceleration. There's a pulling force. There's a pulling force F. Now, there is no friction, so don't worry about it. Smooth incline. Now, we only need to discuss the motion along the plane, so don't worry about forces perpendicular to it. There would be a normal reaction cancelling out mg cos theta. Now, it is going up, so the net force should be upwards. The acceleration is always in the direction of the net force. Force upward is F minus mg sine theta, and that is equal to ma by Newton's second law. So take this to the right, F equal to m into a plus g sine theta. M is given, a is given, g we are taking as 10, and sine of theta, sine of 30 is half, so this is 5 plus 1, 12 newtons. And that is constant. Now, we need to know the instantaneous velocity at t equal to 4. It started from rest, so it is at. A is 1, t is 4, so 4 meter per second. That is the velocity at t equal to 4. The power at t equal to 4, instantaneous power, is instantaneous force, which was anyway constant, and instantaneous velocity, which was 4. So 12 into 4, 48 watts. Whereas for average power, we'll have to calculate the total work done divided by the total time taken. For work done, we need to know the displacement. The displacement at t equal to 4 is ut plus half a t square, but u is 0. Half a t square, 8 meters. The body goes 8 meters in 4 seconds. The work done by that force is force into displacement. Both the force and the displacement are in the same direction, 96 joules. And the time taken is 4 seconds, so it is only 24 watts. The average power delivered in those 4 seconds is half of the instantaneous power being delivered at 4 seconds. Finally, if a body dropped from a height capital H reaches the ground with a speed 1.2 times root gh, what is the work done by air friction? As you know, if there's no air resistance, then it would hit the ground with the speed of root 2gh. Root 2gh. But now it is not root 2gh, it is less than that. If you take 1.2 inside, it will become 1.44. So it is root 1.44 gh, which is not root 2 gh. So it is dropped, means dropped from rest. So final K is also the change in K, half mv square, half mv square. Now this will be 1.44. So this will be 0.72. 0.72 m and square root will vanish, 0.72 mgh. Work done by gravity is plus mgh. Work done by both gravity and air resistance is the change in K. Therefore, the work done by the air resistance is change in K minus the work done by gravity. That is a change in K, and work done by gravity is this much, so minus. Obviously, it should be minus, right? So that completes our problem solving. And you should now go ahead and do the assignment that is there within the course material. But before that, you should have done all your questions from your school textbook. So what remains in this chapter is to discuss some factual matters like types of energy and how we transform various types of energy from one to the other.